Hello students, good morning. I am Prem Gupta, your English teacher. Dear students, in the previous classes we were discussing the grammar portion. In the grammar section I have completed 3 chapters. First chapter is parts of speech, the second is noun, the naming words, and third chapter I have also completed, that is pronoun, a noun replacing word. Dear students, in the literature portion, I have completed the first chapter, daffodils, and the second chapter, Nandu and the charcoal. And dear students, today we will discuss the chapter number 3 of English literature, that is the invention of aeroplane. The inventions of aeroplane. Dear students, you all have read in social science, in science, that who invented the aeroplane. Right, brothers? Orville and Wilbur invented the aeroplanes. You have read it earlier. But in this English literature, you will read a story based on it. How Wilbur and Orville invented the aeroplane. In this chapter in English, you will read the story since childhood to the till making the aeroplane, building an aeroplane. Okay, students. So just open the book, Open Skies. Chapter number 3, it is given at the page number 23. And just see here. 2 boys waited eagerly for their father's return from a trip in their house in Dayton. Dear students, there are 2 boys and his father is outside, and both were waiting for his father. Both were waiting for his father because his father was on a trip and they were waiting for return in the house Dayton. Dayton is the name of a place that is in Ohio, United States of America. Okay, students, Dayton is a place, Ohio is a place in United States of America where they used to live. Okay. They wondered what gift he would bring for them this time. And they wondered. They were thinking that what gift his father will bring this time. As we were also in our childhood, we were also waiting that our father will bring gift for us when he will return from somewhere. Okay, students, here Wilbur and Orville also, they were keen, they were eager to know that what kind of gift his father will bring when he will come at home. Okay, students, so in this para it is given that there are 2 boys. The name of the boys is Orville. The name of the boys is not written here in this paragraph, but they used to live in Dayton, Ohio, in United States of America, and they were waiting for his father who is on a trip, and they were eager to know that what kind of gift his father will bring this time. Okay, come to the next paragraph. Wilbur and Orville Wright jumped as soon as they saw their fathers coming, and both the brothers were very much excited, and in excitement they jumped as soon as they saw their fathers coming. As soon as they saw that their father is coming, they were feeling very glad. They were very much happy. Dad, we missed you. they shouted. Both the boys, Orville and Wilbur, they were shouted and said, what they said? They said that we were missing you. They said that they were missing his father. They were missing their father. What have you got for us? And they were also asking to his father, to their fathers, that what have you got for us? And they also asked to their fathers that what gift they had brought, he has brought for both, for Orville and Wilbur. Okay, students, come to the next paragraph. Nothing exciting. I'll throw it away. So I'll throw it away. And his father said that, the father of Orville and Wilbur said that nothing exciting. He did not bring anything special. After saying this, what he did? He threw it away. And he threw what the gift they had he has brought, he threw it away. Said the father as throw the gift into the air. And after saying this, the father of Orville and Wilbur threw that gift into the air. And what was that? We will read next. It was a glider. Just see here. The boys jumped in glee. The boys jumped in glee. Glee means happiness. Yes, students, glee means happiness. Glee. Glee means joy or happiness. Glee means happiness. Okay. So just see. The boy jumped in glee and exclaimed. Exclaimed is a feeling of surprise. They were surprised. Both the boys, Orville and Wilbur, they were surprised. And they were very much excited. They were very much happy. What? It's a glider. Oh, look, it's fly. And both the brother were saying to each other that what? It's a glider. It is a glider. And oh, look, it flies. And one was saying to another that looks, it is fly. It flies. Okay? It means the father of Orville and Wilbur brought a glider as a gift. It was a toy. Now, come to the next paragraph. The flight of that toy glider was an important event in the Wright brothers' life. And it was an important event in the life of the Wright brothers. From this time, there is a desire, there is a mindset in the mind of both boys to make an aeroplane in the future. Just see here, the flight of that toy glider was an important event in the Wright brothers' life, and the flight of that glider was an important event in the life of both brothers, in the life of Wright brothers. As they watched the glider flight in the room, and as they saw that the glider was flying in the room, they had a dream. And they had a dream. What was the dream? Come to the next page number 24. They had a dream, the dream of building an aeroplane someday. And this glider changes the life of Wright brothers. And from that time, from the childhood, and they had a dream. What was that dream? The dream of building an aeroplane someday. The dream of building an aeroplane someday. It was the dream. Okay, students? So come to the next paragraph. Both Wilbur and Orville loved machines and tools, and both the brothers, they were used to love machines and tools since their childhood. Both Wilbur and Orville loved machines and tools. They used to love very much machines and tools. Their father owned a printing press, and their father had a printing press. He was the owner, the father of the Wright brothers was the owner of a printing press. Both brothers worked at the press, and both brothers, Wilbur and Orville, worked at the press, and both were working at the printing press, and that was his father. The owner of that printing press was his father. Both brothers worked at the press, and when the machine broke down, what they did? They fixed it. They repaired it. Fixed it means repair it. If any time the machine has been broke down due to some problem, the both brothers fixed it again. Fixed it means repair it again. Sometimes it took very long. Sometimes it takes very long time, and sometimes it takes very short time. And sometimes it took very long. Sometimes it was hard to fix. But sometimes it was very hard to fix. Sometimes it was very hard to repair. But their father said, what he said? Of course it's hard. His father said, of course it is very hard. But you have got to have a patience and agit. But you have to keep patience. You have to keep tolerance to repair, to fix it. Okay? Of course it is hard. His father sometimes used to say, what he used to say? Of course it is hard, but you have got to have a patience to keep at it. And his father suggested them. His father suggested both the boys to have a patience, to keep patience. If the machine is broken down, if the tools is not fit, if it is taking too much time for fixing, okay, no need to worry. But their father said, of course it's hard, but you have got to have patience and keep at it. The Wright brothers developed lots of patience, and day by day both the brothers developed a lots of patience. They worked at a printing press for 10 years and learned a lot about the machines. And both Wright brothers worked at the printing press for how many years? For 10 years. They worked there for 10 years and learned a learned several things related to the machines. Okay? They learned a lot about machine. It means they learned so many things related to the machines and tools, because they were doing work, they were working there from 10 years, and in this period of time they learned a lot about the machines. Okay students, come to the next paragraph. When Orville was about 20 years old, the Wright brothers opened a cycle shop. When Orville was about 20 years old, the Wright brothers opened a cycle shop. They sold and repaired bicycles, and they sold they used to sell, as well as they also used to repair the bicycle. Wilbur was 4 years older than Orville, and Wilbur was 4 years older than older than Orville. But both the brothers lived together. But both the brothers used to live together, work together, even thought together. They used to work together, as well as even they used to think together. They used to live together, work together, and even thought together. They still thought about their machines. They still thought about their dream. And they still, although they had opened a cycle shop, but still they had a dream. They were always remember the dream. What was the dream? The dream of making an aeroplane. And this was the dream of both the brothers, of the Wright brothers. Okay? To make their dream come true, they had to work very hard. And they also knew that it was very hard to fulfill the dream. To make their dreams come true, and for making the dream true, they had to work very hard. It was not a simple task. It was very hard to make an aeroplane. They did a lot of research, They spent hours watching the birds flying, and they also spent too much time. They spent hours and hours for watching the birds flying. They did experiment and worked with wood and metal, and they did so many experiments and worked with the wood and metals. They also worked with the wood and metals because they had a dream. What was the dream? The dream of making an aeroplane. Okay? Okay, students, come to the next paragraph. They made their first glider and took it to the Kitty Hawk in the North Carolina. And in the beginning, they made what? They made a glider, not an aeroplane. In the beginning, they made a glider and took it to the Kitty Hawk. Kitty Hawk is a place, open space, empty space, where he can do the experiment. They made their first glider and took it to the Kitty Hawk in North Carolina. North Carolina is a place in America. And they made their first glider and took it to the Kitty Hawk for experiment. The Kitty Hawk had a long stretches of sand dunes, and Kitty Hawk has a long stretches spread of sand dunes. There were sand dunes. There were no population, and was an ideal place to try out the glider. And it was an ideal place to try out the gliders. They pulled the gliders to the top of the hills, and they pulled the gliders to the top of the hills during its experiment. They pulled the glider to the top of the hills, and Wilbur climbed into it. And Wilbur climbed into it in the gliders. And what happened there? Wilbur climbed into it. Orville pushed the glider off the hills, and Orville pushed the glider off of the hills. Okay, students. So in this way, both the brothers were very much dedicated, very much devoted to fulfill their dreams. And the dream was making an aeroplane. But before making an aeroplane, they made a glider and they were doing experiment in the Kitty Hawk. Okay, now we have done it. They both shouted as the glider took off, and both they shouted in excitement, in glee, in happiness. What they shouted? We have done it. They shouted that they had done it. What they had done? They are success. They were success in the mission of flying the gliders or making the glider. And we have done it. Both shouted as glider took off. Then slowly it come down. And slowly it come down. Okay, slowly the gliders came down. Okay, students, come to the next paragraph. Like the toy gliders that their father had given them. Like the toy gliders, the father which his father had given in their childhood, their glider could fly, and their glider also could fly. But it did not stay in the airs and come down after a while. But it did not stay in the air for a long time. It came down after a while. After a few minutes, it came down on the ground. But it did not stay in the air and came down after a while. Don't lose patience, Orville. And his brother was said Wilbur to his brother. And his brother said to the Orville that don't lose patience, Orville. Okay, although it was not successful mission, the glider came down within few minutes. It did not stay in the air for a long time. Okay, therefore the brothers Wilbur said to the Orville that don't lose patience. Okay, come to the next paragraph, students. They worked on the glider even harder. Now they worked on the glider even harder than ever. They again tried and tried and tried. They now made, what they made? They made an engine all by themselves. And they made an engines all by themselves. They attached it to the glider and they attached it to the gliders so that the glider could stay in the air. They fixed some engines there in the glider so that it could stay in the air for a long time. But the engine was very heavy. What happened next? Changes had to be done. And they were always doing changes in that for making better and better and better. They made changes in the engines. Then in the gliders, and then again in the engine. It means they did a lot of work. They did a lot of changing for making the successful flying of the gliders. To improve their aeroplanes, they had to make changes again and again. And to improve their aeroplanes, they had to make changes again and again. In the same way, for making aeroplane, they had to also make changes again and again. Sometimes in machine, sometimes in glider, sometimes in engine. There are so many works they did for making the mission success. Okay, students? Okay, students, in the next class we will discuss, there are 2-3 paragraphs or more. That is, I will teach these 3 paragraphs in the next class. Okay, students, so you will revise this chapter, you will read it. If you find any kind of hard work, you can ask in the comments or in the WhatsApp group. And your homework is to complete the word meaning of this chapter. Your homework is complete the word meaning of this chapter. Of chapter 3 in notebook. Okay, students. So this is all about for today. In the next class we will discuss some more thing. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you.